Hello there. No one. Um, yeah, let's do this. So I chose what I heard is like prime time for streaming. Like, I am pretty sure that there's nothing that people love more than watching some guy draw on a Monday night. Um, so yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Uh, my plan is to actually finish the comic page that I started on the last stream. Um and that's it. Uh, I had some other stuff I wanted to talk about too, but we'll see. Um, so this is a little different from the page that I did last week because uh, I changed the text box a little bit, and I changed this panel a tiny bit. I just thought that you can still see in the sketch the old position of the text box here because, and I just changed it because I thought it was like super awkward for reading. Like if like both panels here share this text box, it wasn't like super clear uh, to which panel the box belonged to, so it was kind of awkward to read. And uh, this panel on the bottom, I just thought it would be a little bit more dramatic if I pushed the face a little bit to the left, which was what I did. And this right here, I was gonna change it, but I still kind of like the idea of the text overlapping both panels, kind of making it very clear that they relate to each other and they are happening almost simultaneously, almost like I think if you would see, it kind of feels almost like a fade in if this was live action or animation or something like that. Hopefully. Um, but yeah. So yeah. Oh, I also made some notes for myself, which only make sense for myself, I guess. So these are my notes. Like very simple stuff. Like on this sketch that I did, there isn't a lot of difference with the thickness of the lines here. So I want to change that. I want to change like the clouds to more thin lines, and the island or the rock here to thicker lines, and this floating island right here, the perspective is kind of weird, so I just wrote it down here to remind myself to make it a little bit more flat. And I also wrote down here less detail and more detail, just so we have more details on this foreground thing to hopefully reinforce the idea that this is like far away in the distance. And I also drew some curved perspective lines to kind of help me have a hopefully more accurate perspective here. So yeah. Cool. Let's do this. Oh yeah, I'm thinking of like sharing this PSD after I'm done. Just if you guys maybe if it's any useful to you in some way. But like I think it's pretty clear what I did. I did like a general sketch, just with like super general shapes, and then on this layer I refined it a little bit more, and on this layer I refined it a little bit further. So now I'm going to reduce the opacity here and make a new layer and start drawing. I have some brushes here, and these are all just brushes I have gathered like through the years. I have this one that I really like for inking. It's like kind of unpredictable. It looks pretty good for like vegetation, stuff like that. But if you're gonna do like a more careful line drawing, I have this other brush, which is just like a squarish brush. But like if you're gonna do like fine lines like this, it's more reliable. It kind of goes where you want. Well, this one, it's a little bit unreliable. Like sometimes the lines that do not go exactly where you want, but there's something interesting about that. So yeah, there's this panel. I think it still looks a little bit confusing, just because it's a little hard to tell like what is foreground, what is background. And I was kind of experimenting earlier, trying to see if maybe I could make the whole sky black, just because I don't want to introduce anything other than black and white, at least for this page. And that might work, but I'm not sure. We'll see. Yeah, so just scribbling some vegetation. Yeah, and this shape I want it to be flatter, because now it looks a little bit too much like we're looking under it. I mean, we should be looking under it, but not that much. And yeah. Oop. Hopefully this fireplace background noise that I added isn't like super boring, but since people always say that it's kind of relaxing to watch me draw, I thought it would be a little more appropriate than the 8-bit music that I usually use. I don't know, let's see if it's too boring. I might change it, but let me rename this sketches. Okay. Line art. And I think I just realized the resolution I'm using is not super high. Well, it's 3500 pixels tall. I think it could 7000 pixels tall. I think that's enough pixels. It's a little bit better. And since we're inking, I want to keep in mind that varying the line weight like this can create some very interesting effects. Of course, anything that has a thicker line is gonna look heavier and kind of like it's in shadow a little bit more than anything that has thin lines. So I'm gonna try applying that here. Try to imagine like which forms are in the bottom, which forms are facing up or down. You know, yeah, stuff, very simple stuff that I'm sure you've heard before. But it's kind of easy to forget. Like, you get kind of excited about drawing and you just start like using the same lines for everything. I mean, I do that sometimes. So today is a public holiday here, which is why I had some time. I mean, it's not like I'm super busy, but today I had a little bit extra time, so I decided why not finish this damn thing that I've been procrastinating about for like a month. And I also wanted to I I just saw on the Huion website that they finally have Linux drivers for their tablets, which is great because I kind of complained about it on the tablet review that I did. So I don't know if if it's because of me, if they listen to my feedback, but it's great to see that they have Linux drivers now. And so I wanted to kind of try streaming from Linux, but like my point was, look how easy it is to switch to Linux, and you don't need to rely on Photoshop and Windows and stuff like that. But I couldn't do it in time. There was something wrong with the I was trying to install Pop OS, which is like a super noob friendly distribution. It's one of those just works distribution that anybody should be able to install, but somehow I kept getting an error, and which kind of defeats my point of showing how easy it is. But I still want to do it like maybe next time I stream, because I've used like Pop OS a bunch of times, and I feel like if you're like if you've never used Linux and you're just kind of interested and want to check how things are, Pop OS and maybe Linux Mint are the best ones for that. So yeah, maybe I should do a video about that. And I remember that even without the drivers working, you could still use the Huion tablets. It had like pressure sensitivity and stuff like that. It just didn't have the actual software that comes with the tablet, which allows you to customize the keys and stuff like that. So it's nice to know that it's like totally working now and you can actually use it. Um, yeah, it's not looking too bad, I guess. Good thing about drawing rocks is that you can just kind of make up any shape you want. I mean, there are like if you look at some reference, there are like specific shapes um, that different types of rocks make, but you have a lot of liberty to change things like according to how you want to design everything. So yeah. Oh, I totally forgot that I wanted to add like a waterfall here. And maybe since this is a castle, I should draw more defined trees. Like it's not wild vegetation, it's more like planned, like a tree line. Yeah, I think that's better. We're looking up. Yeah, we're looking up at this castle for sure. Well, yeah. You can always cheat with Photoshop for straight lines, but the problem is that it looks so mechanical. Like, yeah, if you do the lines yourself, even if it's kind of wobbly and it doesn't go exactly where you want it, it never looks too mechanical and like all the rest of the drawing is not super straight and mechanical, so I don't want to use like just pressing shift and making straight lines. I don't want to do too much. Like here I used shift, but I'm breaking it up a little, so hopefully it's not gonna look too straight, too mechanical. And I need to be careful. Oh, this perspective is wrong. I need to be careful about adding too many details to this, because this is like very, very much far away in the distance. And it would be cool if I like added filled in shadows like this. It helps selling the volume, but I don't want to do that just yet because I want to see how the sky would look like totally black, if things would still be readable. So I'm not gonna fill in a lot of black in the actual shapes just yet. Oh, this perspective is a little bit wonky. By the way, I am using the Huion tablet that I reviewed. pretty good tablet. Uh, like I got it for free from Huion, but I'm not like shilling for Huion, except for the video. But they haven't told me like you should say good things about it. I just it's a pretty good product, I think. I've had it for, gee, how long was it? Maybe 6 months, something like that. And yeah, haven't had any troubles with it yet. And I really like the little scrolling wheel that you can use to resize the brush, like super easy. I don't know if there's any like Wacom tablets that have this kind of thing. Oh, hey there, Kino Man. How's it going? You are looking good yourself too. uh, yeah, actually, I might be adding too much detail because, like, if you look at the panel size, it's like super small, and detail is nice, but I can't have something in the distance be so detailed. Like, I'm gonna have to add a lot more detail in the foreground elements. So I might have to erase some of that. Yeah, this right here is like there's too much going on. Just working and lurking. Yes. That's good. That is very good. Um, yep. You said working and lurking. Yeah, that kind of it reminded me of something I was thinking about this week, which is I'm always listening to podcasts while I work, and like I don't think that's a bad thing. Like if I did, I wouldn't do it. But I think there is an element of like not only me, but I think a lot of people nowadays we just can't deal with silence and like our own thoughts, and it's like we're always running away from something, running away from our own thoughts, and like I don't have anything specific in mind that I'm running away from, I guess. But it's because I've always listened to stuff. Like even when I was a kid, I like listening to the radio, and that was like super relaxing and helped me sleep. I think a lot of people are like that, but I think it becomes kind of a strange thing when you need to have this kind of thing. Like you can't work without listening to something. You can't sleep without having somebody talking in your ear. That is kind of a strange thing. which kind of not saying that it's like a something like a degenerate habit that's unproductive or whatever, but like I wonder why. Hey Rivershy, interesting how the canvas barely takes up more than half of the screen, and it's fine. Oh, oh shoot, yeah. Sorry, I just that's how I draw. Oh, okay. Maybe this is better because like I can still see the brushes and stuff, but since it's like undocked, then I guess OBS doesn't recognize it. So maybe this is better for streaming because now you can see the rest of the page better. I mean, you said it's fine, but still, maybe seeing a little bit more would be even better. I had some reference for these when I started, but now that things are kind of defined, I'm mostly just going from memory. I might need to get some reference though, because this looks kind of strange. It can be a bit related to anxiety, yes. Yeah, I think there's just people are just so anxious about everything. I was watching this YouTube channel where it's a woman who does like 200-year-old recipes, and they kind of it's a little bit larpy because they dress in like settler clothes and stuff, and they basically they do things like the settlers would have to do, like washing clothes, like how it was to wash clothes like 200 years ago. And I think the thing that really called my attention was like how silent everything is. Like if you only have like the work that needs to be done and the people around you, and you don't have like radio, you don't have internet, you don't have TV, like it's much more quiet than you would imagine. And I mean that's obvious, but it is kind of interesting to see, to actually see it in action. Yeah, I think I'm maybe mixing shapes that are kind of too different from each other here. People were scared to be bored. Yes. Yeah, I think so. I think we are kind of terrified of being bored, which, I mean, there's no denying it's a very bad thing. I think being bored is actually super important. Just, thinking about what you're doing, and then you actually start thinking about other things. Yeah, this shadow doesn't make sense here. Just being in the moment. I mean, that's super cliche to say, but I think it's true. So it doesn't matter that it's cliche. Okay, so this, I guess, like the horizon line would be somewhere around here. So this, we are starting to see a little bit of, like, we're starting to look down on this whole thing a little bit. But I think maybe that is too extreme. Like, I think maybe we should only start seeing we should only be looking down on it further down here and not up here. Just so it helps the sense of perspective that I'm trying to fake here. What is the comic about? That is a very good question. This is like a challenge that we're doing on the Discord, where each artist is gonna take one page of the comic, and they're just gonna take the story, whatever they want. And so this is the first page. So what I did was I tried to create something that was as vague as possible to give the next artist the most freedom as possible to take the story somewhere interesting. And I added some text to it, which it's not my strong suit, but I think this is good for like an opener. So it's just like an opening narration saying, they say there used to be a city in the clouds. They say the people that lived there were happy despite everything, until one day. Yeah, and this is like the hook. So to keep you interested to see the next page. Yeah, and there's on the Discord, there's people seem to be kind of interested in taking this I guess exercise somewhere else, which is super cool. Like I like this part, like the drawing, but I'm more excited about seeing where is it that people are gonna take it, because it should be fun. These chains that I drew here, they are, I don't know, they don't look super identifiable, I guess. It's kind of confusing. Well, because I kind of drew them very lazily. So hopefully I can make them more recognizable as chains. Yeah. Yeah, so like from here, we are starting to see the top of things, like the top of this cloud, for example. So let's see if I can reinforce this idea. But also I don't want to add too many lines to these clouds because otherwise they start looking heavy, like heavier than I would want it. So I'm like using the minimum amount of pressure on the tablet now. I find interesting how this is what drawing is like. Drawing and painting, it's all thinking, basically. Taking these considerations, like, should I be seeing this or should I be seeing something different? It's, yeah, it's about where is your mind at before you lay down the stroke. So like for example here, I increased the brush size a little bit because I want this to be, I guess visually heavier, because I want it to look like it's a foreground object. So you have to, you are always considering, like, if I do this mark this way, what kind of effect is this going to have on the viewer? And this is all, to me, it's interesting that this is what 90% of drawing is. Not so much about what you do with your hands. Let's change back to the kind of more unpredictable brush. And I like this brush because it resembles trees in the distance a little bit, or it could be like foliage. And I guess since we are like super closer to the object, like this is like a foreground object, it's fine to have this more unpredictable brush for the rocks and not just the foliage. It's very, very inky, almost traditional looking. And you know, there's nothing super special about these brushes, no like a rotation or whatever, or like dual brush. This could be a dual brush, I'm not sure, but you know, just standard Photoshop settings for everything. No opacity. People already took responsibility for pages 2 to 5. Yeah. Yes, I think so. I should check the Discord, but I think so, yeah. People kind of already assigned pages to themselves. which is super cool. Good luck, have fun, stay hydrated. Yeah, thank you. Yes, I will try to do those things. Where does the fireplace sound come from? It's just I just searched for fireplace sound, and it was the first thing on YouTube, and it's like a 12-hour video. Hopefully, we're not gonna listen to the whole thing. How is it looking without the sketch? Okay. I don't think I'm gonna make this vegetation as tall as my sketch was, because it looked a little bit weird. Another interesting thing that I was talking about, the considerations you have when you're drawing, but it's not like it's something you think like super consciously about. It's mostly things that you've done so many times that this is just how you do things. It's like there isn't much conscious thought behind every decision. Which to me is very interesting. Okay. Yeah, not bad. I think that if I can pull off the chains a little better, then that's gonna reinforce the whole perspective even a little bit more. Because like you see like the object in kind of medium here, and it gets smaller and smaller as it goes into the distance. So that helps sell the perspective a lot. God, I hate drawing chains. It's such a pain. Maybe I could use one of those chain brushes and just kind of edit it, erase it, but actually this is like super confusing. I think I'm just gonna do silhouette, just black. Yeah, because otherwise it's too confusing. And I'm kind of changing the direction of the chain, but that's fine. These are just like I said, just to reinforce the perspective. And also I guess the composition, because if you see like a rope, or it's basically a line leading here. So the clouds are also kind of leading towards this castle, so the chains also help in that regard. In case this thing goes like we keep doing it, and if I do another page, maybe I should try to take it in like a sci-fi direction, because it would be cool to draw some robots, some cities, not only like castles, natural vegetation, whatever. Yeah, okay. I think maybe I should not uh, paint the sky black because I think it's clear enough that these are like floating islands. Yeah, I think that's fine. And like if I painted the sky black, I would kind of lose a lot of this vegetation. I would lose a little bit of detail that I don't want to lose. So I think this is fine. Don't like when people use special brushes to draw chains very much. Yeah. Yeah, it looks super cheesy. You can make it like look better, like being careful about the values you use and kind of erasing it a little bit, and but then it's almost just as much work as just painting from zero. So from zero, painting from scratch. So there isn't much point to it. Like this kind of gives me flashbacks to drawing Spawn fan art when I was a kid. And like I always had a lot of fun drawing the character and the cape. The cape was always fun because it's like a super organic shape that you can take anywhere. But then there's the chains. The chains are a pain. Because you have to like keep considering the angles of the shapes that go into the chain. And like of each link, the angle changes, and it is a pain. I mean, drawing is never a pain. Not really. I'm actually not super experienced with inking and line art because I paint more loosely. But I think it's not too bad. Something that I really like about line art, like black and white like this, is that you have only two values to define everything. And you kind of have to be more creative, like painting the sky black is not something you would normally do, but in a black and white drawing it makes sense just because the sky is a much darker value than the clouds. So you have to, when you only have two values, you kind of have to make this kind of I guess non-traditional choices. It's weird that we think of the sky as like the super bright value, but if you look at it, it's actually not. Like, if it's cloudy, it's kind of a high value because it's all clouds and gray. But if it's like a blue sky, it's usually kind of dark. Just take a photo of a blue sky and take all the saturation, Photoshop, and look at the values. That's actually like much closer to black. Just because blue is such a naturally low value hue. Yeah, there was another chain. See, you can see I'm getting kind of impatient drawing these chains. Okay, let's slow down and be a little more careful. You don't have to be super careful because if you just use the general shape of the links, you have some freedom, like of the angles and stuff like that. Yeah, I had a cloud here before, but I think I decided it would be better to just have the foreground continuing instead of a cloud there. So, especially because then I get to make the foreground more detailed. It's basically had a bunch of lines everywhere. This is the good thing about rock and ground and like dirt. Just do whatever. Just add lines that you think have some nice flow to them, and that's it. You're good to go. So basically the idea here is that these floating islands are all connected by these chains. Just because I thought it would be cool if I started with something kind of, I guess, fantasy-ish, fantastical. Mostly so people understand, the next artists understand that they don't have to do anything super realistic. Because that's boring. I also really like this brush to like make the panel lines. It's because it's so sketchy. I don't know how to explain it. I just like how it looks. And the panel is gonna go here, and I need a little bit. I think if I balance everything, if I make everything like in the page the same general level of detail, it'll be fine. I do wish I had used some more like completely dark shapes though, because I really like when comics do that, like just fill the shape with black. But in this panel, I think this is better like this. I might fill this whole thing with black, or maybe this foreground roof here, maybe some of these shadows. But I guess the most important thing is being consistent, not changing the style too much from panel to panel, because then it just looks like a mess. I think this could be like a tad visually heavier, so I'm gonna thicken some lines here. Mostly on the bottom. To kind of imply a little bit of shadow. Yep, that's not too bad. Oh, this has too much detail. Yeah, no, this is in the distance. It should not be this detailed. I never did a lot of comics, so I think I never thought about how much you have to balance detail, especially if you're doing things in different planes, like if you have a foreground and a background and a middle ground. The background needs less detail than the foreground, and the foreground needs more detail than the middle ground. It's more important than I thought. Cool. This cloud here, I don't know if I like it like that. Maybe I'll extend it to the right like this. Yep, cool. Make the rock here a tiny bit thicker than the clouds. Cool. I think this panel is mostly done. So I'll take a sip of my coffee and start working on the next one. Start working on this face a little bit. Let's see what I can get away with this brush. Just because I like the way it looks, so I want to use it. Yeah, like if I do this, it's like too much like a Disney character. It doesn't fit the overall tone. So I'm just gonna maybe let the eyes be a little darker, like this. This is like an older gentleman, so yeah. Yeah, like I really like how this brush looks, but I need to remember that I have to stay consistent with the other panels, so I need to have at least a couple of not so sketchy lines. Because like the first panel is mostly straight lines, not so much this super sketchy brush. And this guy's nose was a little bit too young looking. See, gonna try the pure black here. See if it works. And this is like a super old, super torn, I guess, cloth over his head, so I get to make some cool shapes here. Oh yeah, this is great for hair too. Like, it's perfect for hair. I guess when I downloaded this, it was like originally a hairbrush or something. Thick stash. Yeah, super thick. He's not looking super old though. But I'm gonna make him look older with the other brush. Hopefully. Okay, let's try the other one so I can do some hatching. Old people are the best, by the way, for drawing, because like you can just keep adding lines. Like old men are the best. If you're drawing like young women, that's like super hard because every stroke counts and you have to be like super subtle. Like if you're drawing older men, you can kind of just keep scratching at the drawing, you know, just adding lines and lines until it looks acceptable. I think his eyes a little too big. He looked kind of cartoony. Yeah, and this is better because it looks even like more tired. Another good thing about black and white is that you can be vague about things and the viewer is gonna kind of fill in the gaps for you. Like I can make a shape and that shape could be a shadow or it could be a form going to a certain direction. And I don't really have to be super clear about what it is that about the shape that I'm laying down. So I think that's cool about black and white in general. Especially inking, like you could do black and white, but if you have like values in between, then you have to be a little more specific. But if it's just two values, then if it's not just monochrome, but actually two values, then you can be more vague. Yeah, I really don't like this hatching actually. Like, I want there to be a lot of hatching here, but I don't like the direction that it's going. looks a tiny bit better. Maybe I should use this brush for the... Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yep, that looks acceptable for now. But I guess I'll move on to the next panel and then kind of evaluate it again. Yeah, now he looks a little bit older. Cool. So here, this is gonna be an opportunity to use super, like, totally black shapes. Because it's a more, like, it's a wider shot, I guess you could say, and I can get away with just having things in pure black and just kind of imply more than I already am. Actually, this should be inclined because this guy is pulling it. And like, I don't even know what these are that he's pulling, some kind of goods. I did look up a little bit of reference when I did the sketches, but I'm not gonna get bogged down in details too much. I just want to get the general idea. Yeah, like, this guy, he can completely fuse in with his shadow. Very, very Jungian. Yeah, I think this helps you. You can tell, like, the general idea of what it is, especially like from here. It's a guy pulling some kind of cart. Although I could make this wheel shape a little bit better. Yeah, there you go. Now that's a wheel. Yeah, and maybe there's somebody next to him. Like, they're talking and this guy's just walking and not really helping pull the cart. there's gonna be this character, which is the last panel, the character from the last panel, who is just carrying a bundle of sticks or something. I love how like totally mindless and stereotypical I made this. Like, okay, it's a medieval or whatever, and it's okay. So let's have a guy carrying a bundle of sticks. That's what people did back then, right? Just carried sticks everywhere. Actually, I'm gonna put this guy a little bit closer here. And this is like a roof of a building. And like everything else, I'm just gonna imply things, not go super detailed. By the way, if you're like a Craig Mullins fan, if you follow him on Twitter, you can always get some really cool insights about his painting process. And I just saw that he posted some high resolution files, like PSD files from his work, which is super cool. You can just open them up and see his layers and see how he works, and especially see how loosely he works. Yeah, like I highly recommend go to Craig Mullins. Yeah, I guess. Go to his Twitter. He has, I think, yesterday or earlier today, he posted his file. Check it out. See how he works. Super interesting. What's the best midnight snack? Oh, I don't know, milk. Not super big into eating in the middle of the night. That's not super good for you. But if you have to, then maybe drink a glass of milk, because that's gonna give you the calories, but it's not gonna give you too much sugar, and it tastes very good. I am a huge fan of milk. I think that's the most boring thing I've ever said, but I think milk is the most based food, even more based than meat, I think. Because if you want to eat something healthy, but you don't want to cook, and you are super lazy, and you just want the protein and the fat and no sugar, just you can't go wrong with milk. So yeah, that's my recommendation. Milk is a drink, not a snack. Well, you have very, very specific definitions. I think if you are committed enough, anything is a snack. This is gonna be super boring, but just don't eat in the middle of the night. Like, not even milk, actually. Like just have a glass of water. I mean, it's fine. Do whatever you want, but yeah, midnight snacking does not get the FDB seal of approval. If you wanna get those sweet art gains, you need to stop eating and get drawing. I say as I take another sip of my coffee, which has milk in it. So yeah. Man, I wish I could find raw milk close to where I live. I talk to people and I think there's like a cow farm around here, but it's like I think 20 minutes ride, like if you go by car, and I could like take a bicycle and go there, but then can't carry much milk on a bicycle. But it's like a super nice looking cow farm where people actually they have like activities where you can go and set up an easel, and they give you paints and a canvas and everything, and you can plein air paint the cows, and like there's like a castle in the background, and that sounds like super cool. But yeah, you probably need a car, so that's why I haven't gone there yet. But I do plan on going there as soon as possible. And yeah, and also they sell raw milk, and it's just like I saw the photos on Google Maps. It's just like a fridge, and you just take how much, how much ever. You just take whatever you need and you leave the payment there. Yeah, that's super cool. I think, well, oh, yeah, the lines here on this roof are not very consistent with these lines. I should have used a smaller brush here. Yeah, this might be too small. You drink coffee at night? Well, well, yeah. I mean, it's like a powdered latte macchiato, which is, I guess, super artificial, and I shouldn't be drinking that. But there you go. These lines are too straight. I don't really understand the taste of milk. I don't enjoy it for the taste, only the benefits. Yeah, it's an Easter egg. What don't you enjoy about the taste of milk? Are you Are you not right in the head? Like, what's your malfunction, buddy? No, yeah, it's kind of. I understand what you're saying because it's like it's not sweet, but it's not savory. It, it's kind of a strange thing, but it just to me it tastes like the best. I guess you could call it sweet. It's kind of sweet. Um, and also like depending on the brand and the kind of farming they do, you can like I swear to God, you can actually taste what the cow eats. Like because sometimes there are some brands of like milk that I don't like because you can taste corn in it. You can tell the cows were fed corn, and it totally like you can taste it, and I'm just like not a fan of corn in general. Not only for because it's like super, it's just carbs and sugar, which is more carbs, but I'm not a huge fan of the taste of corn in general. Like popcorn, I don't like popcorn. I have eaten a lot of corn flakes in my life, but I guess it's just for the sugar addiction, um, which is one of the things that I'm trying to control. But that being said, I ate chocolate today, so that tells you how much in control I am. See, this shape, this is kind of unfortunate because you can't really tell like what is in front of what. Like, of course, this roof is in front of this, but it's like super ambiguous. So I'm even though the perspective doesn't allow for it very much, I'm gonna make it more clear that this thing is in front of the other thing. And at least in my interpretation, you have to make this kind of decisions when you're drawing, even though it's not like super accurate. It's better to be less accurate but more clear about the forms and like what is in front of what. And there are situations where you don't want to be clear, you want to be vague, but this is not one of them. So yeah, like it's kind of weird because it kind of curves like this, but since it's like I'm going for like an old kind of wonky roof, it's fine. But yeah, so that's why I did that. Probably something about taste buds after a certain age. I don't dislike it. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, I think I did drink a lot of milk when I was a child, so something to do with that. See, this is where I should have gotten some reference, because I'm just adding boards to this window. So far, I think it's fine. It's okay. I don't need the text now. Okay. I think you can tell, but generally, I'm not. It's not super fun for me to draw uh, like super straight and mechanical shapes, like buildings. And I like organic shapes. So even when I make buildings and castles and stuff like that, it's still uh, it's still kind of wonky and kind of organic. Um, and I know some artists who do the opposite, like even when they have organic shape things like portraits or like a character doing some action or whatever, they do like super straight shapes, and that's cool. um, I think it's more important to have a consistent shape language than being accurate. Yep. You know, this YouTube thing is kind of a weird thing for me because sometimes I have like I'm taking a shower or something, and I have an idea for a video. Like, wow, this would be interesting. I could talk about this and that or whatever. But since it's YouTube, like nothing. Like I always kind of give up the ideas because it's like, is it worth it? Like I don't want to be a YouTuber, you know. Like everything that it's related to YouTube, it's basically the Antichrist. So like, do I really want to feed? Do I really want to make content for people to consume? And this is not me saying like I could be a famous YouTuber if I wanted to, but I just don't care. But like whatever. I enjoy streaming and making videos sometimes, and especially when I can get free tablets. That's my favorite kind of video. But like it's a kind of a conflicted feeling, like creating content so people can consume, you know. Even like the word content, like I'm a content creator. It's terrible. I hate it. And like, you need to have a consistent schedule, and you need to produce content that people can rely on. Whatever, dude. You need to ask people to subscribe so they engage, and the fucking algorithm can start promoting your video. And I understand there's part of this that's it's just like, it doesn't matter if you want to be successful or whatever. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. You have to do it. It's just how YouTube works. But like I don't think I could do that thing, like start every video with subscribe and leave a like. Let's hack the algorithm or whatever. It's so annoying. So it feels dirty. But then again, what I'm saying right now kind of sounds like complaining. Like, that's the way things are, so just fucking get over it, If you don't want to do it, then just don't do it. I don't know. The Gothic castle, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Tobias, you blow hard. The world's first anarchist. God, that was such a good show. It's from another time. Things that yeah, things that just couldn't exist. I never read any of those Tex comics, and like I know it's like a whole genre, like old west comics. Just 'cause it sounds so boring, but I always loved looking at the art, at least on the covers, because usually they don't have any screen tones and stuff like that. It's just black and white, and like everything, it's kind of perfect for old west stuff, because if you only have black and white and all your shadows, like everything becomes like super hard noon shadows, like what I'm doing here. Like you get a lot of opportunity to have just totally black shapes, and I always thought that kind of art looks super appealing. I have never read one of those comics though. Maybe I would enjoy it if I did, but I haven't had the chance. And when I was younger and I was reading more comics, if it wasn't, I was a terrible weeaboo. So if it was a manga, it wasn't worth it. So yeah. I think I left. I was kind of limited in what I allowed myself to read and watch or whatever, which is a shame. But I could, like, I can do it now. I can read it now, so I probably won't. Many such cases, yeah. I hate, like, whenever I open another window and I go back to Photoshop, like the first stroke, it has like full opacity like this. I don't know why this happens. And that doesn't happen only with the Huion. It happens with another tablet that I have, so I'm not sure what that's about. Maybe it's some Photoshop interacting with OBS problem. Don't want to add too many people because I don't want this to look chaotic. And like the people that I'm drawing are already so vague that and I think like I have two here, that's not super good. Too symmetrical. I'm gonna add another person here. Yeah, I'm gonna add another person here, but I'm gonna kind of overlap their shape with these two here, just so it's like a group of 3 and 2 here, not 2 and 2. That's a little more pleasing. A little bit more natural. And just gonna imply some terrain, just so it doesn't look too clean. Oops. Text and Conan were a constant in newspaper stands. The kino seemed to be in its presence. The kino seemed to be in its presence more than anything. I don't know what that means, but yeah, like text, like yeah, the newspaper stands. Like I used to bother my dad so much. Like I had to stop and look at every one of them, always looking for new stuff, and there was always text, stuff like that. I used to read so many UFO magazines from those newspaper stands. It was actually kind of kino, because like I think UFO stuff is mostly gray and fey, Greg and Faye. But it was like super fun reading about it and kind of imagining things, and man, it was I'm sure you remember, it was a magazine called UFO, and it got really weird because like, of course it was about aliens and UFOs and stuff like that, and it was mostly like stories about historical UFO cases and like just basically stories. And you know, sometimes there would be like a journalist investigating whatever, just talking to local people. But there was, I don't know what happened, but suddenly the magazine started having a lot of like new age kind of reincarnation and spiritual stories, like kind of, to me, very unrelated stuff to UFOs and aliens and stuff like that. It was kind of strange, but I guess there is like an overlap if you're into the UFO stuff, like believing in crystals and whatever. But it was kind of strange. Like when I was a kid, I loved that kind of stuff. I read Were the Gods Astronauts or something like that, or like Chariots of the Gods, something like that. I ate that shit up. Totally. It was fun. I don't think I took it super seriously. It was super fun. Or maybe I did, but um I want to create some distance, like, because this guy is this guy and is this guy. So I want maybe like have him be separated from all other elements. So I want to keep like an empty space around here. Uh, and hopefully that kind of brings the focus into him a little bit. So maybe I'm gonna move him here, almost like there's an invisible circle around him. Yeah, hopefully this calls attention to this figure a tiny bit. There's something intriguing about anything supernatural. Yeah, for sure. um, like even if you don't think there is anything supernatural, it's always intriguing. This face is too big. And actually, it should be more like we shouldn't be seeing so much of the front of the face. Yeah, because he's facing away, so yeah. Something more like that. Not sure if it totally makes sense, like this knot here, but I think it makes sense enough. Oh, there was an artist. I think he was like a Brazilian Japanese descendant artist. Uh, he did, and he did. He. I think he was like active in the 80s, in the 70s and 80s. And I remember reading uh, a lot of like one-shot stories, like samurai stories that he drew in Editori Scala, like magazines. Oh gosh, what was his name? It reminded I got reminded of him because he drew a lot of stuff with like this kind of lines, this thick, just pen lines, and it was kind of reminiscent. The style was a little bit reminiscent of text and stuff like that. Wow, I hadn't thought about that in like 10 years. And it was all like hand penciled too, so the 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 letters were like a tiny bit inconsistent because they were hand drawn, but that looks super cool. I think that kind of influenced me a little bit because I can still, like, if I think about it, I can still see the drawings in my head. Um, Editori Scala had some nice stuff, like almost I think they took indie comic creators and just published them, almost like in glorified zines. Remember the zines? Oh god. Oh shoot. Yeah. This leg is bent and coming like this, and the other leg is being extended forward. And actually, I should probably make this other leg totally black. Just to push it further behind his other leg. It is looking a little bit short though. I flip the canvas. And this head still feels a little too big. Yeah, the position is kind of weird. It should be more like here. Like flipping the canvas is like, it always helps you see things that you start, like when you look too long at your drawing, you just get blind to things that can be very obvious, but just become almost invisible. it's kind of scary how invisible something can become just because you get used to it. You know, even things that you shouldn't get used to. It's fair. I think human beings can get used to anything, which is kind of terrifying because who knows? Maybe who knows what kind of atrocities we are used to now that actually shouldn't exist. Yeah, I don't know, it's a mystery. Is this shadow convincing? It's fine. Oh, there's gonna be a text. No, there's not gonna be text here. Okay. Gonna get the other brush to add this text box. Okay. Thanks, Photoshop. Apparently I have some updates available. Isn't that neat? I wonder what they're gonna break this time. Looks like they have restored the actual normal way of saving. Like you don't have to save as copy anymore when you want to save a JPEG or something, but you have to like okay, you have to like go into the settings and enable like something like a legacy save as, which is it's insane because it's not legacy, it's the normal way. But whatever. I should add more shadow here just to make the lighting consistent. Yeah, but like then it calls too much attention to itself. Like this is a foreground thing. I don't want a lot of attention in this figure. So yeah, I'm not gonna add more contrast there because I don't want contrast. It attracts attention, and I don't want attention there. And I was gonna add like a lot more background elements here, but I think I don't want to add too much because it's the same thing, it's attention. it gets distracting. Like the main point of this panel is this guy, so I have to be careful with adding anything that might take away any attention from him, because this is what I wanted to look at. And that being said, I do want some people in the background, but I need to be careful not to add any unnecessary contrast. And actually, you know what? I think I might be better off here. Using totally black shapes. Like making the sky completely black. Because I think there will be a nice separation of background and middle ground. But let's see if it's not too distracting. I think it's all right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Here. All right. Let's see. Yeah, I think this gets the job done. Actually, no. Yeah, this is better. Yeah, actually, maybe this whole thing should be, well, yeah, this is a little more interesting. It's looking great. Yep, thank you. Yeah, I'm not too dissatisfied with it. So I think I might call it a page. See what the text. This could be a little heavier. Oh, and I guess like want to make the shadows more consistent. There should be like a cast shadow here, but I think it's too distracting. Or not. It is pretty distracting, yeah. Well, there's this building here that could be casting a shadow here. If it helps the composition, I might keep it. I kind of like it. Especially if I draw into it like this. Does this read as a shadow? I think it does. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it. And I'm even gonna pretend there are some shapes that extend the shadow like this. Just so it's almost like an arrow pointing at this guy. So yeah, that's not too bad. Well, let's make a new layer and see if this looks good, because I think it might. And I'm gonna erase here. Oh, actually, maybe I'll increase the brush and yeah, do something more sketchy like this. It's kind of cool. And kind of killed a little bit of the work that I did before, but that's fine. How does that look? Oh, that looks better. Yeah, no, that looks better for sure. It's much more dramatic. It's almost like there's some lighting coming from behind him, which there could be if the next person decides to take it in this direction. So yeah, cool. I like that. And I like this little bit here too. This is kind of necessary. Cool. All right. Okay. I think this is where I'm gonna take it. I've been drawing for 2.5 hours, so yeah, that's really not too bad for one page, I think. And yeah, this is gonna be it for the first page of the challenge we're doing. If you are not on the Discord and you're like watching this later, I think I got a link for it on the description. And if you wanna join the challenge and draw a page of this comic. But yep, so I think that's it. See you next time.